Hello, we still get loads of questions about starting up a business. That is predominantly what our page is about. It's about helping other people with their businesses, either from very early days or sort of into it a little bit, and that's what we try and do anyway. Not that we're any particular expert, but we do try our best to try and help where we can. Now, the biggest questions we get are about actually starting up. So what I want to do is wind it right back to the point when basically people are first getting out there, still working for their own company, still working for other companies, or thinking about going out on their own. Now, there's obviously the real basics before, and there could be several parts to this as well as usual because there's so much to go into. But really want to wind it back to the real basics of sort of before you've even got out and done your first job, the important things. Now, if you're working for someone else and you're thinking about going on your own, probably one of the first things obviously is a name, some sort of memorable name, something that's important to you that you're going to like and probably want to keep, because once you've got that name and a logo, that's what people are going to remember you for. Once you've done the work, if you've done good work, that will be what people recognise. We started with a logo back in 2010, and we've still got it now, because once it sort of got noticed and our existing customers recognise it and see the vans driving around, things like that, that really helps. It's just like a brand recognition thing. So if you can get something set from the early days, your first customers who use you will see that and remember it, and whether it be on a business card or whatever other point of reference they will see it, it's just a great way of recognising you as a company. So I'd say always get that set up first, have your name and your logo, and then you're sort of good to go in that respect. The other one being insurance. That's the other one, your liability insurance. Always get that in place as well before you go to any job, before you go into any houses. You want to have that covered. There's always sort of certain levels of cover, and I can deal with, if you're joining NIC, NAPIT and things like that later, because they will ask you to have a certain amount of insurance. But you want to have public liability, probably up to at least 2 million, something like that. It's not very expensive. I remember when I was a sole trader, it was dirt cheap compared to what it is now as a bigger company. So it's not that expensive, but it is well worth having, because just in case of mistakes, things like that, it's kind of something. And people will ask as well. Sometimes people ask if you've got it. So that is another one to have before you've even stepped foot into the working world on your own. And probably a bank account as well. That's another one. It's not an essential, you don't have to, but it's really helpful to have a separate bank account, even if you're a sole trader, just to see the money coming in, coming out, sorting out your tax, all that sort of stuff. It keeps it simple. And you don't have to, and you can separate it from your day-to-day stuff as well, so you don't have to get confused or worry about that sort of stuff. It's just nice to have all your money coming in, or when people pay you, coming into a specific account just for your company. And the last one in this little section as well is, before you get out there, do a little scope on the local area as well. See what, not necessarily your competition, but see how many people are within the vicinity, how many other electricians are going to be there, what you're what you're up against when you're first starting out, because likelihood is these other people are going to be established or could be more established. So you need to just see what you're sort of dealing with. Not that it should put you off by any means, because just get in there and start interrupting the sort of, I don't know, whatever you call it, but it's sort of get in there and start making waves yourself with your own work and your own sort of credibility. So it shouldn't put you off, but do have a look around and do have a scope around, because it's just good to know what you're up against, what other types of companies, where they are, whether they're commercial, industrial, domestic. It might help you set your own sort of area that you want to work in, whether you sort of move in domestic. If there's not many domestic companies in that area, it might help you sort of get a set for that as well. So that's part one of this, because there's literally so much. Every time I think about it, there's another 10 things I could talk about. But that's the real basis before you leave the house or do any jobs to start with. Those sort of 4 things I would initially start with, and then we'll definitely do some more to this as well.